let me touch base very quickly with Jasmine. Jasmine, you had some questions about relationships in the adult industry. What's on your mind tonight?
Oh, hello. Thank you for taking my call. I'm Jasmine Gay. I use she, her pronouns, and I am finally making the decision in my life to start producing my own adult entertainment among other media. And I have a hard time figuring out who to trust, who to share like myself with, and like how guarded to be. So I was just wondering, for both of you, how did you kind of navigate like building relationships and trust with people and like knowing where your boundaries are?
Wow. Well, Jasmine, hello, and I'm so happy that you called in. Jasmine's an awesome OnlyFans subscriber of mine, so very much enjoy Jasmine. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not subscribed.
Yeah, so for me, it was very, very difficult, and my main boundary issues were with me and my fans, not so much me and like production companies or other performers or whatever. So that is one thing to be aware of, is drawing boundaries with fans. But I think before anything that you enter into, you should absolutely think everything all the way through to the very end. And you should think about all the possibilities. You should be aware of everything that you might encounter. So like one example would be, you'll get 1,000 people telling you how pretty you are and how awesome you are and how much they love you. And then you'll get one comment making fun of the one thing about yourself that you don't like. And you will never be able to stop thinking about that one thing, Yep. And it's just, it's a crazy thing for anyone who puts themselves out there, into the world. But, it's like, so that is one thing to think about. Like, do you have the emotional fortitude and the confidence to be able to just let that slide off your back? But so, yeah, thinking about, how far do you want to go? Or maybe you want to take steps, maybe you start somewhere, you get really comfortable up to that boundary, and then you start thinking more and you're like, will I be comfortable pushing that boundary a little bit for myself? But I think the bottom line is make sure that anytime you do something like that, if you're going to push a boundary, it's because you want to, not because someone else is pressuring you to. That's a big one for me. And then when it comes to trust, like, I'm probably not the best person to ask, because I am just kind of
pick me.
I take people at their word, and then I deal with the consequences afterwards. So yeah, Amberly, go.
Thank you. She read my notes again, because I was going to say that thing. The industry's small. Like, when I tell people, like, oh, I know this person, they're like, they freak out. They're like, oh, that person's like, a big name. But it's not hard to talk to Angela White once you're in the industry, and you've established yourself. And it doesn't take that long to establish yourself either. This industry is stupid small. I think Sinn can attest to that. So there's a lot of stories that you hear a lot about a lot of people, and it's hard to know what's true and what's not. So instead of focusing on who to trust, and I'm a very trusting person. Ask me, if you tell me this guy's pink, I'm going to believe you, and I won't go check it.
Yeah.
But instead, what I did is I have a plan for what I want to accomplish, and things that I want this month, things I want in 6 months, things I want in a year, things I want in 5 years. And then I also have an immutable rules of what I will not do. And when I'm looking at someone that I'm going to work with, I decide whether or not, if working with them is in alignment with one of those goals, if it's going to make me cross one of my immutable rules. If either one of those is it's not, it's not in alignment with my goals. It makes me cross one of these boundaries, not doing it. Then I also have rules that, while I typically wouldn't break, there's some circumstances where, okay, I'm willing to consider. And then I also have it spelled out what it would take to get me to break that rule. And it's helped me step on far less toes, still get opportunities, and also be able to sleep at night.
Yeah, and I will say, Jasmine, Amberly is honestly the one that you should ask that particular question to, because she's yeah. No, don't even try to be modest. Like, you when it comes to, basically making a business out of this, Amberly's got the book. She actually wrote the book. I'm sorry, apologies.
It's okay.
Thank you.
I still slip up and say she, her too.
I know. We're all just doing our best here.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I hope that answered it.
Thank you.
I hope the therapist.
Thank you so much for calling. No, I'm totally on board. Yeah. I think that this is not necessarily a like inherently or intrinsically difficult situation. It's just one that's kind of made that way by a society that doesn't really know what to do with our sexuality. So I appreciate y'all's insight there. And Jasmine, I very much appreciate you giving us a call.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thank you, Jasmine.